Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the MTG Goldfish Podcast, episode 118. The crew is with you as always. Chaz, joined by Richard, the owner of MTG Goldfish. What's up, Richard?
What's up, guys?
What's up? Seth, probably better known as Saffron, all of our resident jank brewer and all-around content creator for Magic the Gathering. Seth, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
It's awesome. Chaz, as always, general content creator for Magic the Gathering, focusing on the financial side. You can find us on Google, iTunes, mtggoldfish.com, and now on YouTube. So hello to everyone on YouTube. And that was Google Play. I'm just going to jump right into it. We have a lot to talk about. We have kind of a little bit of time constraints. Everyone's kind of doing certain things. So we have a ton of announcements that we're going to touch on, each of them briefly. So Ixalan, the October set, was revealed. As well as HasCon, Iconic Masters, and Commander 2017 was revealed to be tribal. That's pretty much what we know for that. So we're going to touch on each of those. Then we're going to go into BNR announcements. We have pre-release talk and then some Fishmail. So a lot of different things to get to. We're going to touch on everything. But first, we're going to start on the Amonkhet pre-release. Seth is actually going to be streaming that later today on MTGO, so check that out. But for now, Richard and I hit the paper pre-releases, so why don't you just jump right in with your experience first, Richard?
It was the best pre-release I've been to, and possibly the best Magic I've played in a really long time. And so I've like 180 because last podcast I was like, I wasn't really feeling Amonkhet, the flavor's off, blah blah blah. But when I actually played it, it was pretty sweet. The gold foiled packs, the treasure chest thing, even the little embalm things, they're so gimmicky, but they're fun, just tearing out the little stickers and putting them on your cards. That's where I'm at Magic now, tearing off little things and sticking them on cards. But it was really fun, and I've come around on white zombie mummies. They're pretty sweet. The embalm mechanic is really cool. Exert, really cool. There's a lot of intricate gameplay with the new mechanics, so I really enjoyed that. And of course I opened a Gideon, so I was happy. So all around, probably the best and most flavorful pre-release I've been to in a while. So I've enjoyed it, and I really appreciate Wizards stepping up their game for these pre-releases.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on everything Richard said. I think it was one of the most successful pre-releases I've been to in quite some time, and I mean, I've started a long time ago. Just from, like Richard said, the little perforated cards were actually super helpful. To the deck box that your cards came in was actually really well done, well crafted. I'm probably will actually use them to store cards. So they were really well done, better than even the ones prior to this. And like Richard was kind of alluding to, there was a ton of great gameplay, little intricate synergies that even down to like commons and uncommons and just everything throughout the set actually felt really good, like really good. There's all these little like synergies that I loved playing with certain cards. I'll get into that more specifically, but everyone had a really good time. I felt all the mechanics were pretty good. There were some cards that were pretty strong. I'll talk on that more, but I liked Embalm. I liked the -1/-1 counter theme, and taking off -1/-1 counters was actually like really sweet. Gave you a lot of different decisions to make. And yeah, I didn't pull absolute trash this time, so it was great. I pulled a foil Mentor and a Gideon, and from my prize packs, I pulled 2 Oketra and a Liliana Death's Majesty. So it was like,
what? You made out like a bandit there.
Yeah, I was like, wow. I think it was all.
Badly.
What?
I didn't open that badly this time. You got like all the best possible cards in the set.
No, actually, no. Well, what I was getting to was not a single. I didn't go to the bigger stores, but we had a pretty decent turnout. There was 16, and then I think 20, and no invocations whatsoever. Not a single one that I saw from prize packs. Not anyone from the pre-release boxes. Not a single one. Not even like a Dispel. Nothing.
So I guess since you didn't see an invocation in real life, what did you think from all of the posts on social media? My impression was they looked way better in real life than the preview gallery from Wizards, and people were happy with them. The legibility is still an issue, but the big, thick, ugly frames wasn't as much of an issue in real life.
Yeah, from what I generally heard, even amongst players too, was up close and personal, having them in your hand, they felt a lot better. Like I said, yeah, like you just said, the legibility, even the art being a little smaller was still kind of an issue with some folks, but overall, in person, they are really not as bad as people were saying when they were looking at like a JPEG image. I mean, it's going to be a lot different experience. So they felt really good in person from what I saw and from what I've heard.
I haven't seen him yet.
Seth is still a hater. Seth is still a hater.
No, I liked him from the beginning, actually. So I expect that if they look even better, then I will still like them because I've liked them since they were spoiled. For me, I want to ask you guys, my pre-release is coming up in a couple hours here on Moto. I heard from a lot of people that the limited format was pretty slow, but it was really fun. So discounting your opens and all that stuff, how did you find the format itself?
So based on my great sample size of 3 matches, it's the best limited I've played in quite a while. All of the matches were epic. You have powerful cards, but none are so powerful that you can't come back. For example, Exert is crazy good, but there are ways to play around it. There's the Aftermath cards bring a lot of power to the set. The Embalm cards bring a lot of power. Basically, half the stuff has flashback in the set. So the cards are really powerful, and there's a lot of strategy in determining whether or not you need to exert something. And there's a lot of strategy in trying to save your removal or your exiling effects from Embalm. So actually, I felt it was the most fun gameplay I've ever had, and I had the most epic matches ever. For the last round, the first game took 50 minutes. Basically, my opponent had a turn 3 Oketra's Monument that lets you make a 1/1 token every time you cast a creature. And I had a turn 3 Gideon. And we went the entire game at a stalemate. I was just plussing Gideon every turn. He was just playing creatures and making tokens. And I was trying to deck him because I couldn't get through all his tokens. And he actually killed me for Xaxes on the turn he would have decked. So he had no cards in the library. And it was just an epic match. And then game 2, we had 5 minutes. I sided into a more aggro build to try to kill him. And I played a pacifism. So there's a pacifism where you can sacrifice the creature to gain 2 life. Turns out that downside is pretty real because I got him down to 1 life. And then he stabilized, and then we drew, which meant he won the match. But, the game was super close. Every match I had was super close, so I really enjoyed it, and I felt there's a lot of gameplay to this limited format.
Yeah, so from my experience, you're going to have to put to bed your hatred of Aftermath cards, Seth, because they're really good in this format. Save for a couple of them,
Limited,
a lot of them are really good.
I expect them to be very good in limited.
Yeah,
I still hate that.
I know that. I know that. I was just
they're probably
making a joke, but yeah, I'm sure you know that. But yeah, I mean, even going off what Richard said, I mean, there's just a ton of awesome little interactions, like between exerting a lot of the creatures, like Crocodile of the Crossing. Obviously, I mean, could be standard playable, is like really good. But even it's even beyond that. Even what was the other one? It's like the Ornery Kudu. Like, there's just a bunch of like the 1 mana 0/3. The Snake Herbalist is like a 1/2. There's just so many places to put a -1/-1 counter. It's basically free rolling a 5/4 haste or a 3/4 for 3, like no problem, like no drawback. So there's like all these tons of little things to be doing.
My MVP card of the night was not Gideon. It was actually the 6 mana 6/7 hexproof.
Yeah, that thing was nuts.
So match 1, I had a Gideon mirror. Me and my opponent both played Gideon, but I had the 6/7 hexproof, which couldn't be +1 by his Gideon. So I had that, and then the cartouche to give it trample, and I just went to town with my 7/7 or 7/8 trample hexproof guy.
Was Gideon good? You both opened Gideon.
Gideon's okay. I have a lot more faith that he's balanced. Gideon actually turns out to be this weird Oblivion Ring gain 10 life card. Because he doesn't have an ultimate, you don't really just win with Gideon. You're just like a big nuisance locking down their biggest threat and, gaining either 10 or 20 life as a giant fog as they actually try to kill Gideon. He's okay. He's like pretty good in limited, but basically like an Ob Nixilis type planeswalker is much stronger. And a 4/4 body is not that relevant in limited because they play a 5/5 and then you're stonewalled. So I have faith that he'll be somewhat balanced in standard and modern because there's no ultimate. You can +1 all you want, and it's not going to get you anywhere. It's just stalling out the game. You can't finish it. So it makes the 3-mana Planeswalker effect a lot more balanced.
Yeah, Liliana was much more powerful. I only got to play against it one time, but it was pretty much over after a few turns of reanimating specific targets, just clogging up the board with 2/2s. It was hard to fight back, but I think Richard really kind of nailed it, is that like not any one card just auto ends the game. Like there's a lot of different cards and powerful cards that can still bring a game, pretty late, and kind of there's still avenues to win even though they get a strong card.
You'll have fun, Seth. You'll have fun. I think spiky players will have a lot of fun because the cards are very powerful. Yeah. And then other players will love it too because it's actually quite flavorful when you play it.
Richard, what did you think of the cartouche trial, that whole interaction? I thought it was actually pretty good for the most part. A few of them it didn't quite feel worth it. Like Cartouche of Solidarity is really great, but like Trial of Solidarity is not so good, but it doesn't really matter which cartouche you use with which trial. But a couple of them felt really good, a couple of them not so good. But all the cartouches were great.
They were all really good because, the ones I played were really good because I had the 2-mana Edict one and then the 3-mana 4/2. So those are fine cards on their own. And then my cartouche was the fight one or the trial. I forgot which one's which. But the one that bounces them all was the fight card. So mine were all playable by themselves, and the extra synergy was just crazy.
Yeah. Craziest card, I mean, you only played 3 matches, right? Or 3 rounds?
The best card in the format is probably, outside of like Liliana, would probably be Glorybringer.
Yeah, that thing's crazy.
You need a removal spell immediately or you're going to die.
I only had it happen once, but it was successful. I mean, there were so many different ways people could go about it. So it dragged out. It was like I think they were playing blue-green. It was a ramp list, and it got to Sandworm Convergence, and I lost. Like, I literally couldn't stop a 5/5 every turn. It was just, that's how that's supposed to work. Yeah, I was like, this is really going to happen. And I was like, okay, pretty sweet. But other than that, yeah, I went green both times. Defiant Great Maw is just too good. I just couldn't pass up a 3-mana 4/5 just because it plays so well with so many other cards. Like, you ping down your Channel Initiate, you just put more counters back on it so you can keep using mana. You can play a second Great Maw to put counters on itself to remove counters from something else, making it a lot better. There was just a lot of different things you can do. Like, I think at one point I had a Soulscar Mage that I put the enchantment. I can't remember which one it is, Richard. The 1 red +3/+3, but it gets a -1/-1 counter every turn.
The Unstable Mutation. Yeah,
that thing's nuts. So I would just, after 2 turns, just play a Defiant Great Maw, put the counters on itself, remove it from the Soulscar Mage. And then, like, other really crazy interactions, like I would have a Soulscar Mage, and then I put in, like, a singleton Volley of Arrows. What was that one? Blazing Volley, effectively just giving them all their creatures a -1/-1 counter. And then I actually, someone actually, I guess, sided a card in, so I couldn't do that again. It was it like totally stonewalled my plan because what was the enchantment? The one that gives you scarabs? So I was like, I don't want to give him like 5 scarabs right now. There's just so many things to do. You're gonna have a lot of fun, Seth. It was a lot of fun.
So, and one last thing before we move on, color fixing was actually really good in this set. You have Evolving Wilds, you have the Shimmering Grotto desert thing, you have all the cycle lands, you have mana dorks that tap for any color of mana. So I actually managed to play 4 colors because none of my colors were deep enough. and not once did I have mana troubles. So I managed to pull that off. So the cycle lands are especially good because you can always cycle them. So I really like the color fixing. So I think all of these just make the format a great format.
Yeah, I went 3 colors, no problem. Turns out Naga Vitalist and the Shimmering Grotto, you got yourself a pretty awesome reflecting pool mimic.
Yeah, I had that
imitation
combo
right
too.
there.
It actually worked really
awesome.
well because then you can also
does.
Evolving Wilds, fetch a land. The land comes into play tapped, but then it activates your creature.
Right. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Moving on, so a ton of announcements. Can't wait to your stream later, Seth. I will actually tune in. Hopefully everyone tunes in too because it was going to be a lot of fun, and Seth makes everything a lot of fun too. So can't wait to see what you come up with. But onto the announcements. So we got HasCon.
Wait.
Ixalan.
BNR.
Oh, right.
We
Okay,
need
so
to
BNR
talk
first.
about
Yeah, BNR first.
The big changes.
The
or
big
the lack of changes.
Lack of changes, yeah. That seems most pertinent. So released today, no changes in standard, no changes in modern. Sensei's Divining Top is banned. Divining Top is banned in Legacy. Jataxian Probe is restricted in Vintage, and Gush is also restricted in Vintage. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Man, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Standard, I have very little faith, and hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised, and Amonkhet makes everything awesome, but I have very little faith that anything's going to change in Standard now, so I'm kind of just dreading at least another, 6 weeks, 2 months until there's another BNR of Mardu vehicles versus Copycat. I expect that that's what the Pro Tour will be. I expect that that's just the things continue how they have been, which is disappointing because Amonkhet looks really sweet. And I was hoping that maybe some of the cool new cards would have a chance to really make an impact on Standard, but I have very little hope that that'll happen now.
Richard.
I don't know. Standard. So we had 6 players for Standard on Friday. The other 150 or whatever were there for pre-release and modern and stuff. So Standard is struggling, and I like what Wizards is doing. They're going back to the hands-off approach. They basically said, we don't know what's going to go on, so we're not doing anything, and we'll let the players sort it out, which is the attitude I like. And I can't complain that they're going back to that. So I just hope the cards in Amonkhet are powerful enough to shake it up. I suspect we'll have the same thing because we don't see strong enough threats in Amonkhet. We see strong answers, but if you need to play a threat, which you do because you need to win the game, you're probably going to play the threats from Mardu vehicles, or you're probably going to play the 2-card combo. There will be different cards that answer it, but they'll just go into those shells anyway. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what the Pro Tour brings and if the pros do anything with the new cards. But for now, I'm neutral. I don't mind that they did this, but we'll have to see what the metagame looks like. And we do have the post Pro Tour bannings to fall back on. If everything looks like crap, they'll probably push the button at that point.
We said that last time, though.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe you should remind Wizards. Like, hey, you forgot to push the button.
I think. Go ahead, Chads, and then I'll say something else.
I just had a really quick take, and I'm gonna just say what my quick take was when I posted it on Twitter, because that's kind of just generally how I feel. I'm kind of with Seth, but also with Richard as well. Like, I'm neutral. I'm okay with it because there are some answers in Amonkhet. There are some cards to consider, even from testing, which I'll go into a little bit as well. But I was genuinely surprised that they didn't take care of the cat combo. I really was genuinely surprised. And while it's a good thing that Amonkhet has a ton of tools, the issue now that I've been seeing is that 4-color Saheeli can also use all those tools. So it's almost just like you're giving all the tools to the best deck while remaining the best deck. So I don't know. I think they really had to do something about the cat combo, because vehicles, I mean, you can there are decks, there's archetypes being brewed. You can play against vehicles pretty well now. I mean, Manglehorn does a really good job. There are great answers. you're playing pretty much, pound for, sizable answers when they are. I mean, you can play a Hazoret on turn 4 or a Ronus on turn 3. So you're playing some pretty big stuff on curve along with them, or, or taking out, with a Manglehorn, they don't have a Heart of Kiran. So there's stuff to do against vehicles, but Saheeli, it's just like they get all the tools as well, and it's already the best deck, and it still has the combo. So I'm a little concerned, but and I felt like if you made a banning right now, it just opens the floodgates of everyone being super hyped about Amonkhet, because then there's no like caveat, right? Because now I just feel like I'm going to do a whole write-up on all these cards and go through all these cards, and the caveat is, well, there's Saheeli combo. All these cards would be great, but so that's just kind of my only concern. But I guess we'll see. This really does feel like a fingers crossed, hope something happens kind of thing.
My bigger concern maybe, and I'm disappointed because I thought it was going to be a ton of fun to brew if it wasn't for Copycat for the most part, and now that's sort of off the table for the time being. Like, I think it'll still be fun to brew, but I feel like for the last 2 months, every deck I've built has come kind of with the same caveat of, like, this deck is really sweet, it's really fun, but if you're going to play Copycat and Mardu vehicles 7 out of every 10 rounds, you're not going to, like, have that much success. So it's, like, fun for what it is, but it's not to the level of those decks. So I was hoping we'd be out of those days. But my bigger concern is, we know Wizards didn't, and not any fault of their own, but they didn't test this format. They couldn't test the format because they changed rotation. They recently said, we're not going to be printing future League decks like we always do for the next 2 sets because our testing is so useless, the decks won't even make sense, because we were testing for rotation, we weren't testing for the random bannings, all that stuff. So I have a hard time buying the argument that, it's all going to work out, because we know that Wizards wasn't able to test it and like figure out, or even try to figure out if it was going to work out and they would have answers that would take care of it. So everything just seems very theoretical and kind of like Wizards just like, we have no idea what's going on. We didn't test this format. We put a magma spray in there and an artifact removal spell. So hopefully this is all okay and it all works out somehow. So I'm a little disappointed going back to just like how that whole progression went with them switching rotation so quickly, not testing the standard format. It seems like the process that got us here was very faulty because of all the changes Wizards made.
And even going further than that, that would all be great. And like I just said, that's all great for vehicles, and that puts vehicles down to peg. Because like I'm just saying, I mean, I was testing. You're playing a great curve as well. Now you're just playing a curve. Oh wait, I'm dead on like turn 4, and I really couldn't interact because what's my Manglehorn? I mean, you could just magma spray it. So it's like I just delay you 1 turn. In vehicles, you're actually putting them behind. And we've all haven't we not learned from? I mean, Splinter Twin. I get it's more efficient, but I mean it's standard. It's pretty as efficient as it's gonna get without being legitimately. You have a flash creature and you have Splinter Twin. So obviously they couldn't do anything for modern. And looking how much larger the mana, the card pool is there. I don't know. I really was genuinely surprised. And like Seth said, I just kind of feel like, I'm holding out hope and not being entirely doom and gloom, because we heard that like the development, even though we added the caveat on the Glass Cast, it wasn't Aether Revolt, it was Kaladesh. Like, yeah, they could have put in some last minute stuff, but again, that all feels great for vehicles, but doesn't feel as great for Saheeli, but Saheeli still gets those answers. So it's even going to be better against vehicles. So now what's going to take Saheeli? Like, it's just, I don't get it.
Modern. Did we care about Death Shadow? Anyone lamenting over the fact that no changes?
I think Modern is in a great place. I'm super happy with Modern. I don't think there should be changes. I don't think Death Shadow doesn't feel oppressive. Like, it's the best deck, but it doesn't feel any different to me than any other best deck we've had in Modern. It doesn't feel like oppressive or unbeatable. So I'm very happy with Modern. It's very diverse, very fun. Of course, there's little things like blue isn't as heavily played as it could be. There's these little fringe things, but overall, I think Modern's in a really good place right now.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm fine with no changes. Although I am pretty annoyed that Death Shadow is in literally every deck. Like literally every deck can play Death Shadow because you're playing black. It comes with Thoughtseize. It comes with Street Wraith. It comes with fetches. So, like I joked, like 1 week at FNM, this guy's playing like a tokens deck, and it's like halfway through game two, it's like surprise, it's actually a Death Shadows token deck, right? And then I'm playing Grixis Delver. It's like surprise, it's Grixis Death Shadow. Playing Abzin, it's like surprise, it's a Abzin Death Shadow, and it's getting a little annoying. I wish there was just I don't know, like a burn spell, and if your opponent controls a creature with power, 8 or more or something, it deals like 8 damage. just to like stick it to them. But Condemn is pretty good. But overall, I'm fine with it. I don't think there's a big problem. It's just, it's a tier 1 deck, and you're going to see it a lot.
Yeah, I think we're still in that state where everyone's just kind of making it work. But I'm kind of leaning towards Seth. Like, yeah, it's really strong, but I kind of feel it's just like it will remain strong, but it's not like you don't play Death Shadow, you lose. Like there are other options. It wasn't like Eldrazi where it's like 10 different flavors of Eldrazi, although I guess it is getting there with Death Shadow, but it still doesn't feel like Death Shadow or nothing.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Sensei's Divining Top, banned in Legacy, rip Miracles.
So
actually,
Wizards doesn't want to fix a broken standard format because it's going to ruin someone's $200 deck, but they're fine with crushing people's $3,000 decks after printing Counterbalance Masterpiece this right now. I don't know. It's probably the right thing to do, but personally, I like Top and I like Miracles. But
well, Star City Games is giving you a refund if you bought some Counterbalance Invocation. So there's that.
Just probably because no one bought the Counterbalance.
Oh.
Yeah, they only sold like 3.
Maybe. Well, those 3 people that bought them, you get your refund. So, it's a long time coming. It really is a long time coming. It's really just terrible. It's been terrible, like just to watch, to play against. I get it. It sucks. I don't think it was really like we can't fix standards, so let's just destroy a $3,000 deck. It's been something that players have been asking for a long time. We've even come on and said that it's just miserable to watch, like miserable to play against. And my whole thing is it's kind of just you can't win with this because you're gonna destroy one of, if not the only, real control deck in Legacy. But at the same time, the control deck was by far the best deck in the format. Like, it wasn't even close.
oh, I don't know about that.
All right. It was still really good.
It's by far the best deck. But
Yeah,
I like Wizards' statement. They basically said, like, gameplay-wise, Top could have stayed, but from a tournament mechanics perspective, it needed to go. And I 100% agree with it. I don't mind that Miracles is a dominating deck, but it is so aggravating to play against. Because of inexperienced players, there is no Moto clock. As soon as you see them do their first top, if they're not mechanically efficient, then you can just chalk up, a 1 hour round with the draw, right? It's like they'll probably win 1-0 or you guys will draw. So the fact that it takes so long to top every turn, just like brings tournaments to a halt. And it's banned from Modern because of this. There's no brokenness in Modern, but Legacy, we have the same issues. So the fact that they banned it to speed up tournaments, speed up gameplay, I'm all for. And the fact that Miracles is one of the best decks and it can take a hit, like, fine, right? So I actually am okay with this. I'm not strongly for or against, but I am really strongly for, fixing tournament time.
What tournaments is Wizards concerned about? Like what legacy
The
coverage
zinger.
is being ruined by the Sensei's Divining Top? The 1 GP a year?
Listen, Seth, when we see it the one time a year, we don't want to see Sensei's Divining. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Man.
I think it's probably fine. It's one of those things, like if they ever banned Blood Moon or Simian Spirit Guide, let's say Simian Spirit Guide in Modern, I would know it's probably the right thing to do, but I would still be a little sad just because I'm a big fan of Top and of Miracles. So I think on a personal level, I'm a little bit disappointed, but it probably is a good thing overall and for the greater good of the format.
Yeah, if Miracles was like a tier 2 deck, everyone would think it's pretty cool. Right? Like, oh look, you're using the top to trigger Miracles and you get free counter spells. That's so cool, right? But because it's a tier 1 deck, it's still aggravating to play against. Vintage.
Yeah. It's not even like a tier 1. It's like an S tier like deck.
Tier 0.
Yeah, seriously.
Vintage. Probe and Gush banned. Gitaxian Probe, or not banned, restricted, sorry.
Yeah,
Gitaxian Probe, not longed for any format. Legacy is its last stronghold. Restricted in Vintage. WTF.
Well, I mean, I don't know like basically anything about Vintage. I have seen some statements about like, is it just like shopless versus shopless at this point? I don't know. Others can confirm that for me. But I mean, for me, it's like, I mean, I know Seth had the zinger there, but like, it's even like, does even less people play like Vintage? So I don't even know.
Yeah, the rationale on this is very confusing.
Yeah.
Basically, Probe just enables Mentor. Like, why don't you just ban Mentor? Like, because Mentor is the only thing that can beat Shops, so they can't ban Mentor. So they're just gonna do the Reflector Mage thing and hit Probe for no reason.
But they didn't hit anything from Shops.
Yeah, apparently Mentor was winning the Shops battle. I don't know.
But now it's just Shops. Like, Mentor was holding like a battle with Shops, and now you remove the second best deck. So what's left?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking before the angry comments come in about you guys know nothing about Vintage.
Yeah, I don't either.
So it's a little weird.
Right. It is weird. It is weird.
I will say I don't know a ton about Vintage either, but the general feeling of Vintage players that I've seen on Twitter and stuff, they seem to be okay with it. So maybe it's a good thing overall. I haven't seen too much of an uproar. Most of the Vintage players are on board or at least okay with the banning. So
basically whatever Island Swamp says on the website, I will co-sign. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Poor Gitaxian Probe just cannot be played.
Just one last thing before we move on. Like, I get it, and I'm trying to be like, I get it before all the negativity comes, and I really apologize, but it's like, I'm trying to be optimistic. I know there's some stuff, but man, I get to that last paragraph on the banned and restricted announcement page. Aaron's typing, and when I just see stuff like, we hope things turn out well. Like,
we need to let players loose on this format and hope things turn out well.
Well, what players? The pros? I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, is that what I'm reading between the lines? I mean,
what they could do is actually hire some pros, set them loose on the format, and not hope things turn out well, but like predict will turn out well.
So I don't know.
So, are you confident that? Whatever, 6-8 weeks from now, whenever the next BNR, I don't know the actual date off the top of my head. If the format is like it is now with 2 decks, will they ban something that time?
So the Pro Tour would have had to happen, right?
The Pro Tour will have happened, and then 4 weeks after the Pro Tour. So I think like 6 weeks from now would be the next one.
It has to happen. I mean, it literally. If they don't, I don't know. I think there's like complete anarchy and everything.
I mean, we brought this up before. If you lose a standard player for one season because it sucks, that's okay if they come back for the next season, right? But if you willy-nilly ban things left and right and lose their confidence and they never come back, then it's a big problem. So Wizards is trying to walk this line. They're like, yeah, it sucks, but if we ban too much, no one's going to play standard. Everyone, remember where Frontier came from. Modern was too expensive. Standard sucked. Everyone flocked to Frontier. Yep. Right now that Modern's cheaper and there's hope for Standard, Frontier talk has kind of gone away, right? But if people lose confidence in Standard again, they'll just go elsewhere. So Wizards has this really fine line to walk, and right now they're leaning on the maybe chop this one up to a loss and wait for the next set, the fall.
Yeah,
set.
And I get it, and I'm not really berating them because I get it. There's a lot of different voices here. I mean, you have some pros okay with it. Some pros not okay with it that just totally will lose interest. Then you have, like, I see another kind of voice in the F&M grinders that are cool with Saheeli because then they'll just bring their vehicles deck and that's no problem. Or if there's a ton of vehicles or Saheeli, they'll just bring like Teamer Tower. So it's like this kind of trifecta thing. But I think really the general angst is just a lot of like attracting the new players and growing the player base. I mean, when you walk in and you just see like Saheeli combo, it's like not fun at all. I get it. Like vehicles, you can do some stuff. It's still linear aggressive deck. I'll bet it's really good. But Saheeli, it's just like no interaction. You didn't even like. It's just turn 4. I'm done. Like that's not feel good.
The other thing is this doesn't rotate in the fall. It rotates next fall. We have 18 months of this left in standard if they don't do anything like that. It's not like they have, like, I remember Coco being oppressive last summer, but we were like, all right, this is miserable, but it's only a couple months and then Coco will be gone. We're not really in that situation with the copycat combo. It's got a long time in standard, and I still can't get over the fact that they missed this. And that's the most amazing thing to me in all of this, is that somehow this slipped into the format to begin with.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm okay. Like accidents kind of happen, but I mean, then just do something about it. I mean, really, I don't. Again, I get it. It's tough. Like, there's a lot of different. You don't really know. Kind of your what's that card from actually Amonkhet? Like a decision paralysis. It's pretty much like a decision paralysis. You have so many dissenting, like so many different voices, and then even the pros are like saying different things. But I mean, I think it just had to go because, again, you just kind of open up a lot of different things. You get the hype of Amonkhet. You really get a lot of brewing going on. And I mean, what more data? I mean, do you really think a deck is going to go from like 35% of the meta down to what, like 10 overnight? Like, how is that possibly going to happen? And the funny thing is like, I think Saheeli, that 4-color Saheeli list can actually stick around as like a value deck. I mean, you still have the Vizier thing, so you could pretty much just play like a value deck, and you just don't have the combo.
So
I think it would actually still be pretty good.
What are we, like 5 weeks away? When is the post Pro Tour banning?
So Pro Tour is what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks. Which
Band is another 4 weeks from that.
Yeah, so I believe that'll be the first week of June.
So does that put us right before Hour of Devastation?
I'm actually a little confused about that.
Yeah, because then like Hour of Devastation's right around the corner.
That releases July 14th. So this announcement will be about just before spoilers are starting, essentially a couple weeks before spoilers for Hour. Man, we have so many PR announcements.
So clearly answers to get a road sign that says ban copycat and stick it at Wizards HQ.
That was actually really funny.
Because someone did that for top, and it worked.
It worked. Hey. All right, so now we'll get to the announcements, the other announcements, more fun announcements. We got Ixalan, the October set. The HasCon announcement, which is Hasbro's going to have their own con. It's going to be in Rhode Island.
Providence.
Yeah, Providence. Yep. And they released another Masters set at the tail end of the year in November. But if you go specifically to HasCon, you will get a kind of first exclusive preview, get to play with the cards. They're not putting anything out before then. So literally the first kind of exposure to this set will be at HasCon and whatever people decide to post on the internet at that point. And then we have at the tail end of the year, Commander 2017, or not the tail end, I think it's over the summer, Commander 2017. There's 4 decks instead of 5, and they're going with a tribal theme. That's what we know. I guess we'll just take this all in one lump. Gentlemen, Richard or Seth, what do you think of all the announcements?
What's up with Iconic Masters? we're reaching like pretty deep. You know, we had Eternal Masters, we had Modern Masters. What are iconic cards that are not Eternal or Modern? Are we really gonna have like Sarah Angels like in the entire set? I'm so confused with the naming and why they chose to go this route. Is this basically from the vault, but expanded over an entire set?
Yeah, to me, it's like iconic card can pretty much mean almost anything, I think, to them. But I know that we're gonna have some stuff. Richard, don't worry. We got your Sierra Angels for you, Seth. We got Shivan Dragon for you. We got some Juggernaut. We got I don't know, Fireball. we got some stuff.
This is going to be a really bad set if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna
Because
listen. You're gonna have-
if you want to play with Sarah Angels, you can go pick up a welcome deck or whatever
Oh.
from your LGS for free.
yeah.
So there's very few cards that are iconic that either haven't already been reprinted in master sets, like you think Tarmogoyf and stuff like that, Jace, things like that, or are on the reserve list. And Wizards did come out and say this isn't gonna involve any reserve list cards. It was probably optimistic for anyone to think that would be how it was, but when you hear iconic, like that's what I think of is either really old, Black Lotuses, Ancestral Recalls, the original dual lands, or like really well-known modern or legacy cards. And I don't know what that'll be. And if they do go the Sarah Angel route and Shivan Dragon, is that going to feel like a master set and something that you want to play limited of, which is kind of the calling card of master sets, is they're graftable and great limited formats. So I'm a little confused. The one thing I do love is the blind pre-release. That actually makes me
Love it.
I had no interest in Hascon. I figured Magic would be some part of it, but I don't care about other Hasbro stuff. But just that pre-release event makes me consider going because it sounds like such a unique and fun and old school experience. So I love that aspect of Iconic Masters. The rest of it, the other thing is 2 in a year is a lot for Masters sets. So hopefully this is just a one-time, like we really wanted to have this special event at Hascon, so we kind of got to release the set type thing and not a sign that we're going to get even more Masters sets moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it worked out. I'm leaning towards it's just a special thing, but I'm with you, Seth. I love the old school, like you go in there blind and you kind of know all this stuff. And this was like not even too long ago. You would have some rumblings of some cards, but really once you went to the pre-release, you're kind of just, that's where you're getting exposed to the set. But so I'm just going to throw out some cards, food for thought for both of you. When I thought of Iconic, I wanted to kind of gather some cards, so we'll see. So this was just, I'm just going to go through cards real quick. A article on Channel Fireball in 2014 by John Chabot. Top 20 cards: Lightning Bolt, Balance, Thoughtseize, True Name Nemesis, Swords to Plowshares, Time Walk, Tolarian Academy, Dark Confidant, Brainstorm, Tinker, Mana Crypt, Deathrite Shaman, Yawgmoth's Will, Jace, the Mind Sculptor, Demonic Tutor, the Moxes, Force of Will, Black Lotus, Soul Ring, Ancestral Recall. So then there's like a wide range of what people think of Iconic. A lot of them are on the reserve list, believe it or not. You got like Damnation, Dark Ritual, Mana Drain, Force of Will, White Knight, Black Knight, Yawgmoth's Will, Yawgmoth's Bargain, Necropotence, Candelabra, Mishra's Workshop, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Black Lotus, Soul Ring, Time Walk, Ancestral Recall. So there's a wide range. You can almost say like any card is iconic almost. So that's like kind of what I'm thinking of doing.
Most of them. You
can't print most of those cards, but there's like Jace the Mind Sculptor. Like, yeah, it's another like what? It's its 4th or 5th.
No, that's really weak. If they put Jace in the set, if they put Tarmogoyf and Noble Hierarch and like, quote unquote iconic cards, Liliana of the Veil, that would be very weak. Why would they call this Iconic Masters? They should have just called this Eternal Masters 2. So I think it has to be filled with White Knight, Black Knight, Sarah Angel, Juggernaut, Shivan Dragon. So those will be your uncommons and rares. But what are your mythics? And
yeah, I can't. I was about to say
right. Queen, what is a good mythic that hasn't been printed yet?
And the thing is, they're selling these for $10 a pack. This isn't a cheap set, so they have to find value. Like there's going to have to be high end cards. You can't. Who's going to buy a $240 box of White Knights? And
I expect there'll be a gimmick. There will be like the entire set are
in the old. Or
it has to be a new frame. They can't use the old frame because then you just have the old cards.
No, but then you put the stamp on it.
But then it's no longer old.
Oh,
you gotta have
I think you're onto something, Richard. I think that would be
with the faded colors. And right?
Yeah, I think it's like all invocations or something like that.
It won't be invocations exactly, but it'll be like a special frame or something just for Iconic Masters.
Because, I mean, the point I was getting at is there's some universal cards that are deemed as iconic, but like I was looking through forums like Chimney Imp. Stuffy dolls. There's one for you said Stifle, Stasis, Vizardrix.
Did you read the announcement though? They specifically mentioned, I think it was sphinxes, angels, dragons, and powerful spells, something like that. So it sounds like they're going pretty janky.
No, but it said alongside other cards. So I think you're going to get like the janky stuff and then just stuff thrown in there. I really do think it's going to be iconic masters. You'll get some iconic stuff. It'll probably be all masterpieces or whatever, but you're going to have just some regular stuff in there too, because I mean, I get it, iconic, but iconic. I mean, Jace the Mind Sculptor is pretty iconic. I don't know, like, how do you not put that in there?
Well,
again,
let me ask you guys: would either one of you go to HasCon because of this? Like, is this going to draw people into their convention, which I think is one of the big reasons?
I would go just for like the experience of going in and really just having like the first time of opening all this stuff. I'm not saying how I'll feel 5 minutes after when I, pay $40 for a draft and open up Sheevan Dragon as my rare or Mythic even. I wouldn't feel too good about it, but hey, it's still pretty interesting though.
So I actually seriously looked into it because, like Seth, this lured me in, and I'm like, I kind of want to go. Where's Providence? And it's like literally the middle of nowhere. Like, there's no direct flight from the West Coast to Providence. Is this like the headquarters of Hasbro? Like, why is this?
No, I don't.
Rhode
So
Island.
I think you just that's not a good state to have a beef with. I think you just invited all the Patriots fans and
I'm just saying. The airlines do not fly direct there. I'm like 10-hour flight to go open Sarah Angel. Like,
in fact, it's actually a longer drive for you, Seth, than it even would be me if I was like driving from where I was in New York. So it's like for me, I think it's like 3 hours.
Yeah, it's probably like 5 hours for me, something like that.
Oh, so close.
Yeah.
We just have to go back to where I was, just get a car, just boom.
I might do it. I might. We'll see.
I might.
I'm actually going for the My Little Pony exhibits. I don't know what other Hasbro IP there is. Monopoly. Is Monopoly gonna have a big presence? It'd be cool to see the other toys at HasCon.
Some of this stuff I don't even know is on the reserve, like Meek Stone, Might Stone, Mana Flare.
If it's good and from an old set, it's probably on the reserve list. If it's bad and from an old set, it's probably on the reserve list.
Yeah. It's just like
you never know. Some of the stuff like. A lot of the stuff I know is on there, but some of the stuff I have to double check. But like, they can't print half this stuff, or like 90% of it. Lord of the Pit. Oh man, I don't. Navinriel's disc. No, it was printed in the Chroma one. What was that? Bless vs. Curse.
It's been in Commander decks as well.
Yeah, Navinriel's disc.
So
Mana Crypt.
So since
Leviathan. All
right, for the next 20 minutes, Chaz will name off all the cards no one cares about.
That's gonna be your iconic masters.
What do you think about the default set? Any thoughts?
So
on
Ixalan. That's all we know. It's hard to pronounce and hard to spell.
So did they just? Okay, go ahead.
Is this the set that we saw the promo art from? I know the name's different, but do you think it is that set just with the different?
I think so. I always say that because it would just make that Mishra's Photoshop a picture like perfect. Like literally, even if they could somehow just print the packs with like the really bad Photoshop, like thumbtack with the new set name on there, just do that, please. That would be perfect. If they're listening to this, please do that. I think it is.
That could be the second set of this block as well. But usually it's not. Usually,
it could be. Yeah.
I don't know. Kaladesh Ether. Usually the second one is some kind of like verb or something, like some action thing happening.
Yeah, it's Ixalan block, and then it could be Ixalan the set, and then Atlazan. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But so more important was the announcement that came stapled to this, which is they're debuting Ixalan at Worlds. So there's no Pro Tour until 5 weeks after the release of the set. And Worlds is where the pros will get the first crack at the set.
Wow. And yeah, the announcement is pretty big. I think we've talked about that for quite some time. I think pushing it back was the right idea. I think all the pros wanted it pushed back. I think it gives more of a time for people to enjoy just kind of an open door brewing on new sets before kind of the Pro Tour sculpts everything and everyone just kind of just goes off that. But I think it's really good news.
It's just going to be copycat versus Mardu anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's going to stick around for like 18 months. So
I think it is a good.
No, they're going to print like food chain combo or something accidentally in Ixalan. So we all like this. I mean, we talked about this on the cast before.
Yeah,
the metagame is getting solved too fast. Push back the Pro Tour, and then you get two standards: one before the Pro Tour and one after the Pro Tour.
pretty much. Yeah.
So as long as their marketing doesn't suffer or whatever, players don't get hyped because it's Worlds now. I think from a player perspective, it's pretty good.
Also, I don't think they announced this forever. They're doing it for this set. I don't think they've announced for the future, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out and if they adopt it long term.
All right. Yeah. The other Pro Tour change is back to normal top 8s.
Yes.
So instead of the staggered, you get buys in the first round of the top 8. I don't know that it mattered, but I guess we're back to intentionally drawing into the top 8. Is that?
I guess
what happened? The experiment was a failure.
I think they said that they didn't actually stop people from intentionally drawing by changing it, which was their goal. So they might as well switch back, basically.
Did nothing.
All right. And last announcement, Commander 2017, only 4 decks with a tribal theme. So not color-based decks, but tribe-based decks.
Yep.
Why only 4?
I don't know.
It doesn't even make any sense because I'm like, okay, if you're not tied to color, each deck will be multicolored, but then you still need 5 of them anyway. Are you really gonna make like 2 red decks and 2 white decks and call it a day? Like, this is so weird.
I mean, I'm just thinking here. I don't know. I didn't know really what to make of that, but maybe they just figured it was better to do it this way, like concentrate on 4 because, like, I don't know, one of them ends up not being very good anyway. I don't know.
Unless they're all 5 color decks.
They needed to save some of the janky tribes for iconic masters. They didn't have enough janky tribes to go around.
No hominids and dwarves and.
Wait, what tribes do you think they'll use? Do you think it'll be the top tier tribes like goblins, zombies, elves, etc., or janky? Like we're gonna go like minotaurs.
I think there was folk. I think there was some talk on Twitter, and they said that most of them will be common, popular tribes, but one would be sort of a surprise. So I'm expecting the typical zombies, elves, goblins with one wild card thrown in.
So can there be multiple tribes in each one of these?
They could do it like Lorwyn.
Or is like each really one like its own tribe?
Each one has to have its own tribe, right? If you made like a goblin zombie elf deck, would you really call that a tribal deck? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're getting a little bit of everything. It's still a tribal deck, and then you can have like just like coat of arms. That pretty much wins you the game anyway.
I would be severely disappointed if they did that.
I mean, I'm severely disappointed regardless because I'm not into the whole tribal thing, especially for Commander. I just don't do that.
You might have sub tribes, like you might have
that's what
a human deck with a sub theme of allies or something. I could see that going on, but if you had like half the creatures are elves and the other half are zombies, then this is terrible.
You could have like a merfolk deck and then like a sub deck like a turtle or crab or something like that.
I mean, you could have like an elf tree folk deck where you have like basically green anthems, and then you have some cards that cross both tribes. So there's like an elf tree folk for some reason, but I feel like they're pushing it too far. Like that's not what people want. Like. Just give me more elves.
They're all going to be different color shapeshifter. All going to be different color shapeshifter decks. The Wizards just trolling us.
Yeah. Well, what you could do is you could do like the Simic thing where you could just like merge like 3 different cards, like a cat, fish, zombie onto one card.
Yeah. Well, one other question.
Snake Naga?
Snake Naga crab.
The legendary Snake Naga.
Are we done with From the Vault? Is that over with? Because won't they have announced that?
I don't know.
No, because we didn't have announcement day yet, right? Maybe announcement day is when they.
That
when did From the Vault actually release? Is it September or summer?
August. Yeah.
August.
which is when Commander
Well,
releases this year.
Something's coming out in August, isn't it?
Commander.
Commander.
Oh yeah, so then there you go. So no, I don't think any From the Vault's coming out. Then we still have the Commander anthologies coming out, right?
Commander Anthology is in June.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I
the
would.
arch enemy Nicole Bolas or whatever comes out around then too, July.
Oh right. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna slip a From the Vault in there.
Yeah, I think they replaced From the Vault with Iconic Masters. Oh boy, they better do something good with this hype. This mystery announcement.
I just
and if it's actually Sarah Angel's, like, oh boy,
Stormcrow. I don't even know what you put.
A full set of Stormcrows, 256 alternate arts.
The Chimney Imp really got me. I'm like, really? Chimney Imp? Oh, that wasn't even that iconic. Hurloon Minotaur, a 3-mana 2/3, just a vanilla 3-mana 2/3.
Dude, Ironclaw Orc is gonna be in here.
Oh my! I'm cool with a Masterpiece Llanowar Elves though. That would be pretty awesome.
All right, let us do Fishmail to wrap things up. So if you have your questions, send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail, and we'll answer your questions. So from a token 523S, what if Wizards banned combinations of cards from being in a deck rather than a card itself? So you can have Saheeli or Palantir Guardian, but not both in the same deck.
Yeah, obviously, it's a good idea. I just don't think it just gets really convoluted. I don't think that's something that they would do.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated. And then if you have you can't do this in Modern because you could have some similar effect, and it just gets. You just have to go so far down the rabbit's hole to get that done. So next question from Gabe WR. Would Ancestral Recall be better in Vintage if it costs 1 blue or 2 converted mana cost 1 in a blue due to the existence of Mental Misstep?
Probably not. I mean, I get where you're going there, but then it gets spell snared.
Yeah, if it was like Delve 1 or something, but it's kind of like the Tasigur effect where you still only pay 1, but its converted mana cost is actually much higher. It might be better, but the 1 mana is probably pretty relevant. Next question, Paradoxical Data. I want to build a Dimir deck for Commander, but I'm torn between Jissa and Geralf and Lazav. Who is more fun?
Ooh. I mean, I know what your answer is, Rich. That's a clear...
I mean,
Yeah.
Really?
Although Lazav is pretty awesome, too.
Yeah, I would go Lazav, I think.
I think I will, too.
Because you can mill and
you guys are just clearly wrong, but okay. Next question, Yodo77. Instead of a Magic the Gathering movie, what if they went the route of Marvel and Netflix, make seasons for each character?
That would be pretty cool. Like a little animated kind of maybe 3 episodes per. I think this is going off topic from Magic, but they actually did that, I guess, fairly well. It wasn't super amazing, but they did that for the recent Final Fantasy that came out. They did a little, I don't know, 5 or 6 episodes as a prequel, and it was animated. They could do something like that. I think that would be pretty cool.
I think it's all just about the quality. Whether it's a movie or seasons, for me, that's all that really matters is how well they actually make it. Because I think either way could be cool.
It'd actually be pretty sweet to get a Thalia movie or something. You just take one of these random characters and you show their plane, and then the planeswalkers kind of just do cameos as opposed to being the focus. It's here's a regular person living on Innistrad, and there's a werewolf eating them. Stuff like that would be pretty sweet. But they're never gonna do it. They're gonna make some big blockbuster Magic movie first, if anything, and hopefully it does not suck. Next question from Leander Nice. When will we get a reprint of Imperial Recruiter? Will we ever?
Iconic Masters.
There you go.
Next question, Gabe WR again. What cards, say basic lands, do you think you've played the most across all your games of Magic?
Oh, jeez. Well, 2 that pop to mind are Sphinx's Tutelage and Panharmonicon. I play those quite a bit. But the honest answer is probably something like Negate that's boring and shows up in every one of my decks, but isn't as cool as Panharmonicon or Tutelage or something.
Recently, it's Mana Tithe for you. I don't know. That card's in every one of your decks now.
It is
Green cards.
Is that your answer, Chaz?
That's pretty much
Green
my
cards.
answer. All green cards. I don't know. I really don't.
Lingering Souls is probably mine. Play that in like every draft deck. I actually played Block Constructed for a bit. Standard, Modern, Legacy. So I've actually played it in quite a few formats. I'm basically Tom Martell.
I think since I've been playing Commander, it probably is now Sylvan Library. I think that's like in literally every single one of my decks.
OP green draw spells. Here's the best Twitter handle I've seen in quite a while. Beer of Nylea. I think we are past due for a black-red planeswalker. What abilities would you want to see on a black-red walker? Just take Rakdos Charm and convert it to a planeswalker.
Yeah, there you go.
The plus will be just everyone discards. Minus will be destroy a creature. Oh, to make it Rakdos, maybe you choose a random opponent and they discard. Minus choose a random opponent and they sack a creature. And then minus the ultimate is probably some kind of Scrambleverse effect. No.
Yeah, or like sack creatures, deal damage, draw cards kind of combination.
I think land destruction planeswalker would be sweet.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Because black and red, they're kind of land destruction colors, like negative something stone rain. That could be cool.
Yeah, demonic tutor, stone rain, and then like
ultimate.
I never realized we never had a Rakdos planeswalker.
We actually
Are there
had.
other color combinations we don't?
We have.
yeah,
the red
we had one in Rise of Eldrazi.
and also the new Duretti from Commander. We have actually. Two
yeah,
Rakdos
true.
planeswalkers.
Oh,
You're right.
But we haven't had
you're
one
right.
in Standard in a long time.
Yeah.
all right.
Last one was Sarkhan, the Mad.
At K Malsum with the BNR, do you think Amonkhet prices will fall off the cliff? Seth, have you sold all your pre-orders? Can't play any
Don't have to
cards
worry about that
with
now.
Amonkhet. Is this the thing? Is this gonna happen?
I think the price of the set is already low because people were being conservative based on the potential of no banning. So I don't think they're going to fall considerably because they were already pretty low for a set that's just been spoiled is in pre-release period.
All right. From Random Keho, is a hot dog a sandwich? Is a hamburger a sandwich? Is a burrito a sandwich?
Oh, jeez.
No. None of the above.
Yep, totally agree.
My traditional view of what a sandwich has been does not fit these, but
What kind of- that's
I
the
don't
most
like.
correct
No,
answer.
listen, you have two slices of bread, some cold cuts, and you put some condiments on it. That was like a sandwich. I guess these are sandwiches. I don't know. Like this is like a newfangled idea of what a sandwich is. I'm kind of like the traditional. You go to the deli, you get some cold cuts, you put some cheese and stuff on there, you put some mustard or whatever, mayonnaise, Russian dressing, whatever you do, and it's between two pieces of bread, and that's a sandwich. I don't know. I guess.
Here's how I
can see
judge
the
it.
argument.
If you're standing there and there's a hot dog on the table, and I say, "Are you going to eat that sandwich?" Are you going to be confused or not? If you're confused, then clearly it is not a sandwich.
I would look at you, but not respond.
Yep. And that's why a hot dog is not a sandwich.
I actually asked my friend this question. He said, if you turn the hot dog sideways, it's a sandwich. I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense. So maybe if you turn all these things sideways, they're a sandwich.
All right.
No.
Next question from Random Keho. Pro Tour schedule with the new Pro Tour schedule, how will it affect the price of cards in the new set?
Actually, this was interesting because I don't know. We didn't get to talk about this, Seth, but with a longer period of time without the Pro Tour, normally cards just kind of decrease, from pre-orders since release. Some cards will spike just due to the kind of the new hype of the first few weeks of them being good in Standard, but it actually will give a longer time period for cards to continue to decrease if they're not being used. So let's just say some sleeper card is not used and ends up being used at the Pro Tour. You probably could pick them up for considerably cheaper than you would have normally.
That's true. I also wonder if the spikes will be less intense because there'll be more supply available. I think one of the reason we see the really crazy Pro Tour spikes is because the Pro Tour usually happens a week or two after the set's released, and then you don't actually have that much supply out there. But if it's going to be 5 weeks after set release, you're kind of already near peak supply. So I don't think you're going to see as big of price increases from the breakout cards compared to past Pro Tours.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, a month of opening product. Yeah, I mean, I still think there will be spikes, but I agree they won't be as intense because the cards will already have been pretty low to begin with.
All right, next question from Darkness Zora. Would reprinting the original duels affect the price?
White border, I think yes, especially revised, but black border, no. I don't think it would make a bit of difference.
All right. Dave Quayle, I have a sealed box of Modern Masters 3. Is it a worthwhile investment or should I open the box?
I think you should. I just don't see these as being as lucrative as they progressively come out. I just don't think they're as great of a long-term hold the sealed product as they once were. I mean, I think you can still get 2015 for basically MSRP.
Yeah, they're around 220-ish. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just might as well just crack it.
I mean, it's a good set. The thing is, a lot of the chase cards like fetches could end up being in the next Modern Masters and like decreasing in value. So I don't know. I think I would lean towards just opening it because it's fun, personally.
Yeah. All right. Dave S., why do you play Magic? Please, no shallow answers like because it's fun.
That was my answer.
That's the real answer. I like fantasy type things. Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons. So I like playing with zombies and orcs and stuff like that. Although there are no orcs in Magic anymore. We'll just forget about that.
For me, I think I always like strategy games ever since I was a kid. And then I really got into poker, and I guess Magic kind of combines those two things. You have the variance of poker, which makes for exciting games and interesting interactions, but you also have a lot of the hardcore strategy game aspects as well, especially with like building decks and trying to like plan ahead with that. So I think it just combines two things that I've always really liked, and it's I think the best game at combining both of those things. So
yeah, for me, it's the same thing. I mean, I was always into strategy games, even really this is a long time ago. I mean, RTSs, Warcraft, StarCraft, and this was basically the only card game that I saw. I mean, at the time, that was above and beyond any other kind of strategy like card game that I knew of, and really loved the art, really loved the fantasy settings. I actually really kind of just loved, as I learned the game, everything was just really intuitive and made sense, and it was cool, and I just kind of just stuck with it. Even now, I still think Magic is above and beyond any other card game that you could play, even Hearthstone. I know I reference it a lot. I know we talk about it a lot, but I mean, to me, Magic is still the best card game. It will always remain that way, and I just loved taking like all those things that I loved in other games. I loved it, having it be physically in my hands, playing it, playing against an opponent, making decisions. I loved all of it.
All right, and last questions from Brian F. Do you think most tribal decks are just worse versions of Merfolk? I'm assuming this is modern.
Oh, I was about to come in with a commander answer because I still don't understand why people like. I get it, but it just seems really boring for commander. I don't know.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Are most tribal decks just worse versions of Merfolk?
Oh, in modern, yeah.
Yeah, but I think you can say this for most things. Like, Esper Control is just a worse version of Jeskai Control. Like, yeah, right? If you're not a tier 1 deck, literally every deck is just a worse version of some tier 1 deck. So, yes, in that sense, this argument's always correct. But, I mean, if you play zombies, the game plan is slightly different than if you're trying to play Merfolk. So, I would just say it's just a worse deck as opposed to a worser version of Merfolk. So I don't know. Depends on which deck you're talking about. If you're trying to play a blue-based tempo aggro deck, yeah, it's probably worse than Merfolk. But I think like zombies or goblins or slivers, even like those kind of decks, they're slightly different than the Merfolk version.
I mean, Elves is a great example because that's kind of like a combo deck, and Merfolk is kind of just a Lord pump up your creatures deck. So I think you're right in that sense. But I think Merfolk is the best tribal deck.
Is it the best Ether Vial deck? Because
No.
I think a lot of the arguments are, is it the best Ether Vial deck or not, as opposed to being tribal based.
I think it's the best Lord deck. I think the best Vial deck is probably some sort of taxes list, Eldrazian taxes or something.
All right, so that's all of our Fishmail for this week. If you have any questions, be sure to send them to @MTGGoldfish with the hashtag MTGFishmail.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, we had a lot to talk about, and we covered everything, including Fishmail. Thanks, everyone, for sending those in. Yeah, stay tuned. Seth, you got a stream here soon as we're recording, but you should check that out.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally play some Amonkhet. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think you're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be great. So I think that's about it. This is going to be the Goldfish crew signing out. We will see you all next time.